I hear it a lot. I think we just feel differently. I don't think we don't feel as much as maybe ladies feel. We just learn how to show it because in the past we talked about that before on previous shows. It's been weaponized against us a lot of the time. So we kind of handle things a little bit differently. But I want to talk to you guys about just ask you a few questions and kind of get into this conversation that's going to be kind of deep for us. We're going to dig in a little bit. Hopefully, it's enough for this one episode. If not, we'll carry it over to next week and we'll just keep it going. But tell me, if you can, why do you believe that whether it be women or society want us to show our feelings more? Do you think that's a valid request? Is it a heavy-handed request? Why do you think them want us to show our feelings more?
I'll take that one if nobody cares. I'd love to
You already
start with
did.
that
Yeah,
one. Okay.
you already did. Go for
Um,
it.
I think that every woman wants their man to share more until they do. That's what I think. I think it's a great idea. I think that it sounds wonderful until your man is sitting on the couch next to you, crying his eyes out about how he can't provide, or he's worried about making the electric payment, and the lights are getting shut off, and then they go, "Wow, be careful what you ask for." That's what I think. I think it's the new cool hip thing for everybody to be asking for. I also think society as a whole wants men weak, and so I think they want us to just start pouring it out like that. So I think between the two of them, yeah, I think that's kind of where it's coming from. I still don't think it's a great idea. We definitely feel, but I think most of us have kind of learned that you can feel, but you don't have to show and embody, and collapse. You can feel in a controlled way, and still protect yourself and the people around you.
Okay. Now I want to ask you one thing, but then I want the second part to be all of us jumping in on this one because you mentioned that first scenario before. As a
Hmm.
matter of fact, you mentioned it a few times. Are you able to talk about that more? Is that something you actually experienced yourself? If you've seen up close and personal, where you say, you know what, I put myself out here, and this is what I get in return. Are you able to speak to that, or is that just something you've seen from a distance?
I've experienced it firsthand, and you know, it, it came at a moment of weakness. Unfortunately, it wasn't like I
Okay.
was experimenting, going, "Oh, maybe I should, be more feeling and more emotional." Right? I witnessed it with my own eyes. I felt it in my soul when it happened. I let myself get so weak at one point that I said, "You know what? I just need to let it out." And I wasn't thinking about the consequences of that. I was just thinking, "I got to let it out." And so I did, and I could literally see in her eyes what was being reflected back at me. It was it was fear. It was,
Fear.
"Oh my
Okay.
god, this is the position my husband's in. Now what?" And she had never seen that from me before. And in that moment, I decided, I can never let this happen again, ever. She depends on me to be that for the family. That's what I've promised all of them. That's my commitment to them. And unfortunately, yeah, man, I've seen it up close and personal, and it ripped my heart out. So when I give
Mm.
that advice to men, it's because I've lived through it, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
I don't want you to choose between the two, but let me just ask you another question, and then we're going to put this out to the rest of the team. Would you prefer fear or contempt in that situation? I know you probably would rather have neither one of them. I know I would. But
Right.
if given a choice,
You know,
you have to pick one. Would you prefer fear from them or contempt because you shared your heart like
fear.
that?
Fear all day. If
Okay.
you have to have one, I'd rather have fear, because that means that she
Okay.
believed in me, right? And then maybe I can get back there. Contempt, you're done. Okay. When your significant other looks at you with contempt, it's over.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
There isn't coming back from
Yeah.
that. So, again, I'd rather neither of them. And I think the answer is don't put yourself there, right? But anyway, I'm sorry for taking all the time, guys. But yeah,
No,
that's
man,
that's where it is,
you're
man.
doing what you need to do. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that with us. So for the rest of you guys, the initial question was, why do you believe that they want us to show our feelings more? But Rory's point was a really good send off there. That society seems to want men to be weak. You guys can speak to one or both of those points, whichever you like. You guys in the chat, you're free to answer that question as well. We'll bring it up if it's relevant to the conversation. Go ahead, anybody.
I'll jump in on this one. Um, Women want men to share because they don't understand the fundamental differences in the way our brains and emotions work between the sexes. Right?
Yeah.
The way women experience emotion and the way women process emotion is verbally and out loud. That is the way they process emotion. That is the way they live through it. That's the way they move through it. And so they understand it from that direction, right? That's why most therapy is based around the way talk therapy, right? That's the most common forms of therapy. And that's why it's less effective for men than it is for women, because that's not how we process emotion. We don't just talk through it as men. That's not the way our brains are hardwired, right? So women think if we just talk about it, we'll be okay, because that's what they need to do, right? I've shared before, I used to get in trouble with my wife because I'd be like, all right, pause. Am I fixing it, or am I just listening to you talk about it? Right? Because as men, we want to fix it when our wives tell us something like, oh, this has got me upset, right? I'm unhappy about this. This is happening. No, they just need to talk through it. They need to say it out loud. Because they experience the feeling and they flow through their feelings when they're talking about it out loud. Men don't. When we start to share what's going on in the deep resources of our hearts and souls, women have no idea how to process it because we don't process things and experience emotions the same way. We do feel as many emotions as women do. We don't experience them in the same way that a woman does. We don't experience joy the way a woman does. We don't experience sorrow the way a woman does. Right. And the easiest example you could say is, right, everybody, man, woman, it doesn't matter. Every single person experiences grief differently, right? And for the most part, most of us understand and respect that you and I experience grief differently. Well, it's that way. Men and women experience emotions differently. We process them differently. And so when we start to dump out what's inside of us, it freaks out women because they don't know what to do with it. And then if we get, God forbid, we get on the vulnerability side of that sharing emotionally, their all respect is gone, because unfortunately we're running 1,000-year-old playbook. Men have an expectation, period. We provide, we're strong. And if we shake, if that foundation shakes, their world is rocked.
Sounds like that's why we need each other even more. That's what it sounds like. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I don't know if this is a correlation here, but you always have strong takes, man. But I don't know the glasses, and somehow I feel like the take has grown from, it was already here, but I feel like that's just what I'm seeing. But we got some comments before you guys jump in.
It's all packaging, man.
Yeah, but you said it earlier too.
I look smarter.
Tristan's in the house. He said, I think ladies don't know how to handle and process how men communicate when they open up. It can be heavy and raw. Absolutely. Steve said, a lot of men want to open up, but it doesn't feel safe to do so at times because of the expectations placed on us at an early age. There we go. That playbook again. I've been talking about that. Who's up next over there? What's up, Javi?
RL, go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
I know you got something to share on this one.
Yeah.
He always got something to share. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Currently I'm looking at it differently. I do not disagree with any of you. I do not disagree. I'm with you 100%. A lot of what you said, I would have said. But sitting here thinking about it, that's one thing when it comes to the world. But when it comes to your spouse, we got to look at it differently. And I'm saying that is because, remember, that's why she's here. She's here to be your helpmeet, right? And if we keep her shut off because we are afraid, then that creates another form of isolation that creates a rift in the relationship. And now she's feeling unwanted. And so there got to be a happy median in there. Now, I'm not saying that I know what it is, but I'm just saying we have to start moving toward that in order to have a healthy relationship, And I'm on the other end of that, where I have an amazing wife, to where she does want me to open up because she does not want me to take on all the stress by myself. And I know that she can handle it. Just being my, my upbringing, and like you said, that playbook, I'm going to figure it out. Whatever it is going to do, I don't want her to even deal with that. But then if I'm doing it all by myself, then that makes her feel like why am I even here? I'm trying to help you and you won't allow me to help you. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I just know we got to find a happy medium in order to have a happy home. We got to communicate. We got to express our feelings. Now, I'm not saying that you go boohoo crying, but we have to find a way to do it. We avoid it, but it has to be done when it comes to our spouse.
Yeah, what you got, brother?
I mean, I'm kind of in a similar vein that RL's in, man. I think when we ask the why, I think if I'm being, advocating for it being something good and healthy, right, then the why has to be to establish a stronger relationship. It would have to be to create a deeper friendship, right?
I like that.
I mean, if you look at the way that Brent and Rory both touched on it, right? How women process and how they discuss things, and they're open and vocal. It has to be, in some respects, that they want the same type of a bond that they have with their girlfriends, with their man, right? They want to have that equal yoking and that deep, okay, we can be honest and we can be transparent. Now, in agreement with my other brothers on here as well, though, like Arl just said it. I mean, it doesn't mean that we fall to pieces every time we're feeling something in front of them, right? Because there is a responsibility, right? We gotta be some form of a rock for them, right? Otherwise, what are we doing together?
Yeah, I'm hoping that nobody's thinking, you know what? I can never be in this vulnerable place. I can never shed a tear because that's a big emotional problem. And down the line, that's going to be a problem for you and for your seed. So I'm coming against that right off the bat. I'm telling you, that's not a good thing. But time and place. I mean, I see this office. I'm in here worshiping before the Lord, and I'm telling you what's happening right now. It's much right here. It's just me and God, and it's much right here, and I'm not ashamed of it. It doesn't make me feel like I'm soft or or something wrong with me because I'm before the master, soaking in his presence. That's fine. I'm sitting in the restaurant, I just go like Harry met Sally, but in the reverse. That's a problem. So we're not doing that part. So hope you guys will get the wrong impression. Men can cry, men can be vulnerable, but sometimes it's about time and place, and sometimes it's frequency. Because I want to preface that last comment because this is about the ladies right here. So if you're watching, ladies, it's not really about you, but it's a general statement. A lot of times, I've noticed this in spiritual circles, especially. If a woman cries all the time for everything, like she's making a comment about the lunch she made for her kids, and she busted out crying because I love my kids so much. There could be some areas to work on with that. Or you saw a school bus and it reminded you. I mean, it could be so many things. I know people like this who just cry almost at the drop of a dime for anything across the spectrum. It means, what, there's some need for probably some emotional maturity there. So if men are just busting out crying for, random places, everywhere at high levels of frequency, we could have a problem there. Tristan's comment, I want you guys to kind of speak to this, especially those of you who have sons. He's talking about how young boys tend to have the idea of showing emotion to be weak and strong and wrong. We heard that from Brent earlier. It's the playbook. It's what we've been taught. It's been ingrained. It's been embedded since what? Maybe even before the 1800s.
Forever.
Way before that, I'm sure. Forever. He says he's working in that with his sons. What do you guys think about this? And how do you help your sons move around that situation, especially when society all over the place is showing it to be the opposite? TV and movie, things they may see. What happens in school, how they treated in school. How do you help your sons work around it if you're doing that right now? For those of you who have sons, I want you to speak out real quick.
I'll chime in on that because I have an 11-year-old, soon to be 12.
Mhm.
We're dealing with that right now. And one of the things that I'm trying to teach him, as I'm teaching myself, it's okay to have the emotion, but don't let the emotion have you.
Mm.
So it's okay to feel the emotion, but don't act from that emotion. Still take time to process and think rationally. Be careful with your words. Be careful with how you move, because especially right now in this area, the prison is full with people who made emotional decisions. The graveyard is full with people who made emotional decisions, who didn't know how to handle their emotions, how to express their emotions. So it's okay to feel. Your feelings are valid, but you don't have to say everything that you feel. And you don't have to move on everything that you feel. Know when to be still.
All right. How about you, Rory? You're the last guy that got bored, I think. I'm a girl dad, so
Hey, man. I love it, and I love that answer. I got to give, I got to give RL some credit. That was a fantastic answer, man. 100%, and I agree. I have two sons, 25 and 21. They're both married, and the older one, he and his wife are having my first grandkid. So,
congrats,
I mean, I
brother.
think we did okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I think we did okay getting them up there. Uh, I didn't teach them to not show emotions. I mean, that's how I was. But I did let them know it is okay, under circumstances. It's time and place, and it's also, about when and where. When you're with your brothers, when you have a brotherhood, when you got, your ride or die guy that's going to be there for you at 2 o'clock in the morning, go ahead and show it. That's when the time is right. When you're leading your family, that's not the time. That's not the time to break down in front of your wife, break down in front of your kids, that kind of thing. And I am a believer. I know it's old school, but I'm an old guy. So you know what? To heck with all of you. I'm old. I like it. All right. But I think that it's important to not break down really hard in front of your children, because that's not what they're looking to you for. You can guide them and you can help them and you can convey awesome messages like what RL just did. But, I can't remember crying in front of my boys, you know what I mean? Type of thing. And I don't regret that. I was very careful about the other stuff. I made sure they understood that, what was a safe place, what wasn't. The message was never stuff it and don't feel. But we do have a responsibility. And as much as we hate it, as much as we want to teach against it, society is what it is. It hasn't changed. It's not going to change tomorrow. And the changes that are being made are not good. They're not good
Right.
ones.
You betcha. All right.
Mhm.
Got a comment from our guy, definitely one of our fellow panelists and friend of the show. And he says, women are emotional beings. They connect emotionally, so they perhaps believe they can connect with the men in their lives by those men expressing the emotions. But again, careful what you ask for. Yes, sir. Brian is hitting that one on the head for sure, for sure. Another comment says, men, this might be a longer comment. He said, men and women are different physically, so I think a lot of times people in relationships neglect their own responsibility in a relationship and focus so much on what the other should do and shouldn't do. Okay. And how they said it's also a culture and atmosphere that can have an effect as well, in my opinion. Yeah, I think we just touched on some of that, man. That's definitely a thing.
You
All
can
right,
I jump
so
in for 1 second
yeah,
here?
yeah, please, please.
My wife and I are coming up on 25 years, and this is
Let's
the
go.
limited wisdom I have learned. All right. My wife wants me to communicate that I'm having feelings with feeling words. She doesn't want me to have an emotional reaction to them because women
Hmm.
track emotional words with sharing emotion. So she wants me to say, "Yeah, baby, I'm really kind of stressed and concerned about our current situation." She doesn't want me to fall apart and be like, "Oh my god, I don't know what we're going to do, baby." Right? She wants me to communicate that I am experiencing feelings. I'm experiencing these feelings. She does not want me to physically express them necessarily.
Mhm.
Right? She just wants to be communicated with. I
Right.
think that is the confusion a lot of times. Like I said, women talk. So they want you to communicate what you're feeling. They don't necessarily want to see what you're feeling.
Mm.
Has been my
Okay.
experience.
I think I get you
Uh,
there. I think I get you there.
I'm learning that right now, actually. You hit it right on the head. One of the things my wife expressed to me is she just don't want to be kept in the dark. She wants to know what I'm thinking. She don't want to have to guess and try to figure it out when I could just tell her what I'm thinking. But like you said, it doesn't mean break down and having a big emotional reaction and be dramatic. But she wants to know what my headspace is, and that way she could help out if she can, or where she fits in that. So you hit it right on the head. Emotional words, not emotional actions.
Got it. I know most of you guys' story because we've been spending time together and we're growing in friendship and through this show. Who modeled emotional openness for you growing up? And if nobody did that, how did you learn?
Oh man, that was my dad. My dad's a crier. I God bless him. My dad was a minister for 40 years. My dad was 6'5", 350 pounds. He's a big dude. Like his forearms were the size of most people's calves. Big dude.
Left tackle.
If my mom wasn't like, barely chest height for me, I would have been a giant. But it was crazy to me because my dad was super emotional. Like he was totally comfortable because he was such a big guy. He was, and I mean, he played football in high school and stuff like that, right? But because he was so confident physically because of his size, it didn't ever phase him to be emotional. So he always, expressed love and hugs. Like, we got the hugs from our dad and the I love yous at the school door and stuff like that. But like my dad would cry during a movie and I'd be like, dude, you're leaking. He's like, it's a touching moment. That's okay. Right. And I used to tease him about it. Now my children tease me because like I leak when I watch like, oh my God, Acts of Valor or something like that. Oh, I cry through the whole movie. I love those, lay down your life for your friend kind of thing.
Man, real talk, bro. Somebody on this panel or watching this show cried during the Avengers Endgame. I don't care what they say. They cried during the Avengers Endgame. I know they did. Matter of fact, I was one of them. Real talk.
Spider-Man died.
I was one of them. That's not so abstract, man. That's a real thing, man. We just own that stuff. I'm sorry to cut you in, man. Go ahead, brother. Continue, man.
But yeah, no, that was. I didn't necessarily want to be very emotionally expressive all the time, but I never believed it was a bad thing. It was actually getting older and dealing with young women in my teenage years where I realized is like, nope, can't, that's not cool. I can't do that. I can't be like emotional and sensitive. And that was hard learned lessons from early relationships and dating. It was never at home.
Got it. Mary Sharon said, chaos of emotion is the problem, not emotions itself. Emotions have been the driving force of many great moments in my life. And then he followed up by saying, nah, I cried at the ending of Braveheart. All right. I love the comment, man. Good stuff, man. All right. So who else, man? Who will model the emotional openness for you guys? If nobody did, how'd you learn?
I'll jump in here. Man.
Don't be scared, man. It's okay.
I'm going to say both of my parents, but see, it's interesting. We're talking about emotional openness as if sadness and vulnerability are the only emotions. My parents modeled emotional openness when they were having a knockdown, drag-out fight because they were angry. And that was the emotion that they were open with. My dad would always tell us, though, it was really interesting because we would see that in terms of like the actions. But he would always, I felt like every day would tell us it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry, right? But I don't think I ever saw the man cry. But I did see my mom, do all the other stuff. I mean, we're talking about women and how they process emotions, right? I think she was the greater of the two when it comes to like healthier processing of emotions. But yeah, man, it took me 40 years, bro, to even know how to process them. To remember like that we're not to be led by them, right? And I think that's maybe learning in reverse, when you see the unhealthy processing and the lashing out and all that, and then you learn what you don't want to do, right? But yeah, it would have had to have been my parents. I mean, I think it takes, like they say, it takes a village. Takes a village. So I've seen, if we talk about just the healthy parts of it, I mean, I had a grandfather, I had a sister, I've got a brother, you know, like, and it's just little bits and pieces for them. But the bulk of it, yeah, it was my parents as a child, and seeing the things that I didn't agree with, and, you know, like almost like reverse engineering, if you will.
Yeah. All right. Where'd your dad learn it from, DL, do you think? Where do you think your dad learned it from? You say he
We'll
didn't
call
show
it we'll call it the sins of the father. The sins of the father visited onto the son, man. It's just, you know, there's a tradition in that kind of stuff for some reason. You know, we typically write a young boy's first hero is his father, so he emulates those things, right? I know for myself, it's like wherever you put your focus on, you can become. I watched all of those things I didn't like for so long, and I promised myself I wasn't going to be them, that I almost learned exactly how to be that, you know. But it's interesting how that works. But yeah, sins of the father, man. It's just years and years and generations of, I guess, not knowing how to process it in a healthy way.
Gotcha. Dude, everybody cried when Iron Man died. This is it's not even about you. Everybody did. Unanimously. The whole theater was crying when Iron Man died. You too, Brett. Stop lying. You too.
I cried when Spider-Man died.
You too.
I cried when I saw the hologram, man, and he started talking to his kid. That was it. Ugly crying.
That was fair. Definitely cried there.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff in the Avengers that have people. Gamora died. There's a lot of things. Yeah. So okay. And this is mainly men now. Let's get that straight. So anybody else want to jump in on the emotional opening shot part? Rory, Ariel.
Nah.
No worries.
I'm good, man. We got guests in the queue. I'm good, man.
We can keep the train. We can keep the train. But I don't know. It's not a big deal.
I give my time to RL, man.
Sure you are. Okay. You're so benevolent. All right. So on the question, who showed you I really never had one? I learned this once I had children. Yeah, teacher. Mary Sharon says, my mother modeled it. She was dying of age. Sorry, brother. And her behavior never changed. She was still loving, patient, funny, and strict. I love that. Tristan said, I think we don't fully understand our emotions or how to express them. I'm still learning daily. Like Ariel said, have emotions, but don't let them have you. Good stuff, man. I like it, man. Okay. Well, I honestly, if I would try to venture out to answer the question, I never answer my own question. I let you guys do it. But honestly, you guys know most of the story. I didn't have a father in the household or father figures. Matter of fact, I've been a spiritual father to people for 30 years and never had one of my own. So very, very weird dynamic there. I don't know who modeled that, to be honest with you. I think I'm kind of in Javi's boat. Once I had those 3 girls, that's when I found out. I got more in touch with something. See them getting ready for the daddy and daughter dance. I'm like, oh, my eyes are leaking, you know. And I wasn't a crier at any point in New York, really. Movies and TV didn't make me cry until I got to that place. Being a daughter of 3 little princesses, and everything started. The movies, the commercials with the boy and his dad. I'm done. I'm saying, so I don't know how I learned about that. I give all the glory and credit to God and just leave it at that, because there's no person that modeled it for me that I can detect. But here's a tough one for you. There's always a tough question on this show. It happens every time. Have you ever caught yourself being angry when you was actually hurt or scared, and it wasn't really anger, but it was just a cover for your hurt and your fear? Has that ever happened to you guys before?
Yes.
Explain. Break down the story for us if you can. Share it.
All right. What it comes down to. Okay, my parents had me very young. My mother was 15 years old when she gave birth to me. All right. Just go through the timeline real quick. Her and my father ended up getting married. He went to Job Corps, came back. Things didn't
I ain't
quite
heard
work.
Job Corps in years.
Yeah.
Now I really feel old now. Wow.
Things didn't quite work out between them. So they, they had their issues and they split.
Okay.
My mother left and took my brother and sister. My father took me to go live with his parents with him. Shortly after that, he got incarcerated, made some bad choices. I'm not going to really go into much of that because that's his testimony. But I can say the effect that it had on me. That then left me in limbo. So I'm getting raised by my grandparents, and I only see my mother and my brothers and sisters every other weekend. Right? Okay. So right before I get ready to start middle school, I move back in with my mother. My father gets released, and now he's estranged. So we're trying to have a relationship, but at the time, he didn't want to have anything to do with us, really. Mainly because in his mind, he was protecting us from the person that he was, so he didn't feel worthy. And this is the conversation that I had with him recently. Then I learned all this, and oddly enough, it was a generational thing because he didn't have a relationship with his father until he was 30 years old. So that cycle got broken with me and my brother, as far as us and our children. But during that time, he would have different relationships, and he would take care of those families, but didn't take care of the family that he created. So in that, I believed the lie that I wasn't good enough. And I felt hurt. I felt disappointment. And anytime it was embedded in me that I didn't even know it was there, that I was still protecting that little boy. So anytime something that came that felt like disappointment or felt like, I went in protect mode. I put up these walls and I got angry, and it was basically a defense mechanism because I would not allow myself to be hurt like that again. So that anger and that sense of abandonment that I had, believing I wasn't good enough, is what I was protecting. And the only way I knew how to do that was anger. I had a very, very bad anger problem.
Okay.
I mean, to the point where it could be rageful at times. I mean, like pure rage. But it was all because I was protecting myself from being disappointed, being hurt, and feeling like I don't belong.
Thank you for sharing that, brother. Anybody else want to get in there?
Yeah, I can jump in. That was my whole junior high story, man. Like I developed serious anger issues. Like we ended up moving because I was just getting meaner and meaner and meaner. Because I was the fat kid in 4th and 5th grade, man. I was the kid who wore the sweats and the t-shirts and was too fat. And it's because I was getting ready to grow, but I was picked on because I was a fat kid. And even though I grew, like I shot up a foot between 5th and 6th grade and all of a sudden got very athletic and was still a little heavier, but I was a big kid and I never could outgrow being the fat kid. And so I was always teased. And I just got, with the new size, I just got progressively angrier and meaner and would lash out. Like I started bouncing kids off walls, dude. I wasn't a bully, but I was the guy who would punch the bully in the face. Yeah. Just because I saw him picking on somebody else. And all the anger was the pain. Like I would go home and string up, like I chopped all the wood beside our house. Like I split logs daily. I'd go home and just split wood because I had to just dump the rage before I went into the side of the house. My dad would just give me like pallets. I'd string them up and just smash them with a pipe because I had to get the rage out before I came in the house because I was just so angry all the time. And it was the hurt.
Anybody else?
Yeah, man. I'll use a more recent example. I'm the same thing though. I remember I was jumped when I was 6 years old. And from then on, I was an angry person because I was afraid that was going to happen again. Was afraid that I was going to get hurt again. But more recently, man, when my mom died, hurt turned into anger and rage, man. And it kind of like how RL was talking about, you know, because she got ran over by a truck crossing the street, you know, like devastated, right, out of nowhere. And I let my emotions lead me, and they led me right to the penitentiary, you know, all because of hurt, anger, lashing out. Yeah, but that was the bulk of my life, though, all the way through and through. It was a different thing, though, when I decided to willingly fall into it, right? Like when I was young, it was, you know, a deep-seated trauma that I allowed to it just kind of did its thing. I honestly didn't even know that that's what it was for years. But you know, when my mom died, I did it on purpose. It wasn't like I was just like I wanted to be angry because I didn't know any other emotion. I wanted to be angry because I was afraid of being sad. Like I wanted to be angry because I didn't know how to process grief. Right. And all of that happened. And it culminated in going to prison, man. But yeah, the short of it, yes, have definitely done that. Don't recommend it to anybody that's watching at all. Fear is normal. It is okay to admit you're afraid. It is not okay to let that fear turn into an anger that then leads you, right? Don't be led by the emotion.
Definitely. Anybody else before we keep on moving forward? Anybody else? Yeah, we got caught yourself being angry, but you were really afraid or hurt.
I'll throw in. All of my anger, I think, has come from being afraid or hurt, you know, to be completely honest. And a lot of it has come because I was afraid and hurt. I think that made me angry a lot of times because the things that were making me afraid or the things that were hurting me were causing me to be afraid. They were causing me to feel weak, you know, like I couldn't handle something. And they were causing me to break down, you know. So, and to be honest, I've been probably angry most of my life. I was angry until 2024, guys. And that's not even a joke, you know. When I almost died and went to the hospital, and a lot of you guys have heard that story. I won't bore everybody with it, but you know, I shouldn't be here. And it was that big incident, 3 weeks in the hospital, real late nights talking to my wife and really examining my life for the first time ever. When I found a way to let it all go, you know, and she kind of led me there, you know. So please share it. Real simple, guys. I stopped breathing, walking into the emergency room, fell on the floor, thought I was dead. Should have been dead. Had a surgery that should have killed me. Didn't. And when you're recovering from that, you realize how angry you are because that's one of the things you have to let go of if you're going to heal. And it was kind of then when I also realized that most of my anger was directed at God. And that was huge. That was huge for me. So yeah, my whole life I've been dealing with that stuff. I hear everything all you guys are saying and some really good stuff being said by these guys today. But you know, there's the one thing I want to get out here, and I'll shut up, is it's never too late. It's absolutely never too late. You know, I'm going to be 56 in a month, and it took me till I was, 54
Man,
years
you
old.
look good. Man, you look good.
This is true. I do look good for 54 or 55. I can't remember how old I am, but anyway,
you got me by a handful of months.
Never too
I'm never
late.
going to catch up, so you got me by a handful of months.
Yeah, so that's it, man. That's really it. You know, I think a lot of anger is because we're angry at God too. You know what I mean? So I think we got to look there when we start trying to fix it.
I love that. All right, just what I'm seeing already, I can already tell that it's going to take us the rest of this month to finish this topic, and I'm good with that. not because of you guys, because this is really deep, and we need to really get into it and unpack it. I think it's helping people. On a scale of 1 to 10, because we all know about the unwritten playbook. We know about it. We talked about it on this show. We talk about it off this show. We know it's a real thing. People are trying to tell us it's not real all they want to, but we know it's a real thing. It's the unwritten rule book out there about us. On a scale of 1 to 10, how aggressively do you try to counteract the quote unquote unwritten rule book? On a scale of 1 to 10, how aggressive are you all with that? Because that number tells a story. If you say it's 3, then my follow-up question is, why are you not trying to aggressively counteract something limits and nullifies generations? And if it's a 10, then I want to know, so what are you doing? How about the rest of us? So on a scale of 1 to 10, and you guys in the chat can help us out with that too. How aggressive are you with counteracting that unwritten rule book? On a scale of 1 to 10, just give me a number.
0.
0.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing anything. You're totally hands
man.
off. You just letting it happen.
No, not at all. These rules were written long before I got here. They're going to be existing long after I'm gone. And so I'm not interested in changing the rules. I'm interested in winning the game.
Okay.
That's it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's why I taught my boys what I taught them. You're not going to change society's, expectation on that, unfortunately, in this lifetime. You can try, and I admire you if you do. But I'm much more interested in taking whatever the game is, whatever the rules are, and winning for me and mine. And that's kind of what I look at. As long as everybody's going to say, this is how men have to be, I'm going to be like, all right, you know what? Well, then I'm going to be the best I can be at it and make sure I still win.
That's the counteractive, man. Why are you talking to your sons and you're saying, you know what? This that you're seeing around, that's not a real thing. This is what you should be doing. That's what you're doing. You're recoding and rewiring something that people have been teaching us for generations now. So it's the same. We're speaking the same language. Your number should be a 0 based on that. But okay, keep on moving. How about the rest of you guys? Scale of 1 to 10. Don't pick 0.
I'm gonna say 10.
Okay, you got a son too, so that's probably a big reason for that. I would imagine.
Yes, and my reason also is it's not my playbook. It's not the playbook that was designed for me.
It's not.
That is the world's playbook. And it's like the closer I'm trying to be like Christ and I'm studying the word, now I'm studying the real playbook. And he lays it out for us how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to walk, how we're supposed to talk to our wives, to the fact that if we talk wrongfully to our wives, he won't even hear our prayers. So that for me, that's my playbook.
That's scripture.
That's
Bible.
And I
that's
can't.
That's not RL. That's Bible.
Yeah, wasn't me. Yeah, but I'm trying hard to follow his playbook, his design. I'm staying in prayer. I'm fasting. I'm learning when it's too much me and I need to shut this flesh down. And I cannot follow the world's playbook, and that's on anything. And we're human, we're flesh. I don't know, it's easier said than done, but that's why I got to go 10 at it. I have to. Yeah. I cannot allow this flesh to win.
Yeah. How do you feel? Like, I always forget your son's name. I mean, I see him 100 times, but how is he handling you on 10 with this approach? How do you think he's handling it?
I think he handles it well. Okay. But the only reason why I say it is because, again, it goes back to what I'm saying. You have the emotion, but don't let the emotion have you. And you guys have said it's timing. It's the timing of it all, and it's the placing of it all. There's a time and a place for it. And it's to the point where it's happening, and he doesn't even know it's happening. To him, this is normal life.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I like his answer. I really do. I like your perspective, brother. I got to say it. I really do. I'm not changing mine, but I admire yours. Way to go, brother.
Okay.
I'm gonna echo that 10, man. I'm gonna echo that 10.
You going 10?
Yep. And I'm gonna hit some scripture for you real quick too. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but instead be transformed by the renewing of your mind. 10 for me, because when I did try to follow every page of that playbook, I wound up in prison. Every page of that playbook, I found myself ruined, right? Nothing that I did succeeded in the long run, right? So I have no choice but to follow the playbook that RL's following, that every man on this panel uses, right? The world's playbook is, don't nobody want that. It changes every other day. I mean, Now you got some things that used to be in the women's unwritten playbook that are supposed to be in the men's unwritten playbook. I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to stick to the manuscript that's 2,000 years old, man. I'm going to stick to that one.
Love that, man. All right, Steven said 10 for me as well. So we got 10s all over. Got to check on Brent and see what's going on with his number. But said my biggest delay prior was lack of alignment with God. I'm not perfect, but I'm nowhere near what I used to be. I thank God for you, brother. Brent, you got a number in regards to that? I know it's a little bit different because of the girls, but you know.
Well, no, I'm trying to figure out how to process this because I'm largely into teaching men how to thrive despite the playbook.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'm trying to change the playbook because I'm with Rory. It's not going to change.
I never said that word. I never said that word change, man. Don't put that on me.
Yeah.
Use the word change playbook. Change the play.
But that's
change the playbook.
I know that
we
reality
can't counteract its impact. Yes.
So I'm
man. Quote me right. You're gonna quote me now.
We got multiple podcasts between all of us, I know, and several of us have podcasts dealing with specifically this kind of thing. My focus is a 10 on teaching men to thrive despite the playbooks and showing them how it looks outside of that, where they can still have the respect, still be admired, still be men that you want to be like, and thrive in that life, but not be confined by the playbook. So I think that's a 10, but I was struggling with trying to put it inside that box.
Because it's also, I want to understand you guys' mentality toward this. That's really the whole point of all this stuff. You guys are doing a great job. Dr. B, man, he's just a guy I want you guys to individually get a chance to meet if you can. Out of Denver, Colorado. Incredible entrepreneur, author, speaker. He got all total package there. So the hard part of that, hurting people hurt people, and we can understand why. No question. And Chap said he's about a 7. I love it. I think he has a son as well, I think. All right. So good to go on that one. So here's the question. This is going to be a weird one because at all the stories you guys already shared, we already kind of know your story already through our time together. You know, I will ask you guys, who taught you what it meant to be a man? Because for me, and I'll go ahead and put myself out here on the streets. Most of you guys know the story already. I chased my father across the country, literally, just to get him to explain why he didn't want to be around. Fantastic story. But you know, I can't give him the credit for that. I'm gonna give God the credit first because really nobody else was around. But I had to pull from different sources. And when I say this, I know people go right into cringe, but I'm gonna just say this anyway. A lot of what I learned about how to be a man in a certain time period, I guess the mid 80s, was from NBC. I'll be real about it. Bill Cosby. What's his father's name on Family Ties? I forgot the name of the promotion where almost like you gotta watch NBC on Thursday night, something like that. Some kind of promo they had. But the father from Family Ties, Michael Gross, I think his name was his real name, Bill Cosby. That was my model. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, so people who are from this place looking like me, this is how you be a father? I mean, I had to pull from that because I couldn't pull from the wino down the street. And I didn't have anybody else, you know, in my lineage that I was close to that I can pull from. I had to get it from observation and sources and seeing my friends and how their family treated. I mean, I had to pull from wherever I can get it. And you guys may have a better story than that. Mine, it doesn't sound great to say that, but it really is the truth. I didn't have that at all. So besides seeing God, which is my Pat answer in this regard, he's a huge part of what happened, and only reason why I'm even here right now today to call myself a father and a man because of him. But I didn't have those opportunities. But how about you guys? Who taught you how to be a man? You can decide if it was a good teaching or not. I'll let you decide that. But who taught you how to be a man?
I'm with you, Mr. U. I have almost the exact same answer, with the addition of my grandfather. Both of my grandfather were very influential, but they can only teach me so much. because there were certain things that they didn't know. My grandfather only had a 9th grade education. Rural area. So it was certain things that they weren't aware of. And when you're born in the 1940s and 50s, like they were, there's certain things that they grew up knowing that don't necessarily correlate to what goes on right now, right? Even down to like sundown towns. That's a whole rabbit trail that we can go down. So outside of them giving me just the basic foundation, I had to turn to Cliff Hustable, Carl Winslow,
I can't do that one, but
I mean, Uncle
Phil. I could do it.
I was going there next. I was going in there. I'm watching the Father from Seventh Heaven. And I had to piece all these things together for certain things that I needed. So it's like a cornucopia of it all.
Oh man, you gonna make me do this on air? Chat. You really gonna have me go ahead, brother?
Hey, you gotta separate the character from the actual person. Now we're talking.
I don't know the actual person. The character for me was a little bit buffoonish. That's just me.
Well, it was a comedy, man. It was a comedy, but
I know that, man. But I mean, come on. I'm just telling you my experience. That's what's wrong with Carl Winslow, man.
Yeah,
man. Don't act me like that no more, man. Come on, man. Don't do that. Come on, man. Stop that. It's a comedy. Oh my, he's still going. Come on, man. I didn't vibe with him, man. You are taking RL's time, man. Come on, go ahead, RL. Finish
I mean, that's it, man. Because that show, they had some good points, but to your point, Winslow was a little weak on certain things, but
his wife was running him, dude. Tell the truth, man.
And say he was a little weak on some points, but then that's what I say. You had to take the meat from the bone. Like I said, it was like a cornucopia. You had a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Because I mean, Uncle Phil was a little weak sometime too now. So
a little bit, yeah.
But like you said, take all the TV dads from that era, along with my grandfather, and and it molded me to who I am right now. And just like you said, also with your daughters, it's like once I had a son, it's like I just
wow.
Ooh, it's just like wow. And at that point, I wanted it to be for him everything that I didn't have. So I had to hit the word. I had to hit psychology books. Had to do a deep dive within myself, figure out what was going on with me. Like once you have a child, man, it's I don't know what it is, but
the game changes, bro.
Yeah, man. Like even like you were saying earlier, I started crying on commercials. Like, man, like those
commercials, man. Them things.
What? And the Publix commercials,
low-key heavy hitters,
commercials, the St. Jude's commercials. I had to turn the TV because I don't want him to see me crying. Like St. I know Jude's, I'm gonna start crying.
St. Jude's, but I ain't gonna say that. I'm just saying, man, I
can't do it, man.
Nah. No comment, man. No comment. I'm staying out of that. Anybody else going to jump in? Who taught you how to be a man? I mean, where'd you get the understanding of that from? You got two guys that got it from NBC Thursday nights, man. Where you get yours from? What you waiting for?
Hey, I'll jump in. That's fine. I love the fact that I just heard two guys talking about learning it from TV, because I thought I was alone in that. I got to be honest with you. I got to credit Sylvester Stallone, and I got to credit Marlon Brando, and then I got to credit my dad for three different things, and I'll just be brief. I got to credit Stallone because he is the guy that basically taught me that you can overcome anything in life no matter what. There is an underdog thing. The guy who shouldn't win can. And when I was growing up, I felt like that guy. It just had that kind of upbringing. And a lot of you guys have heard that story too. Alcoholic dad beat the hell out of you. So I really didn't think that there was any way to succeed. And he kind of showed that in everything he did. So he was actually a father figure for me. I didn't really know a whole lot about how family is supposed to work. So, Marlon Brando and the whole Godfather thing, it may sound trite, but that's where I learned all those principles about what really is important. I raised my sons with those principles. And right now, the two of them, their best friends are each other as brothers. Nobody is ever going to be closer to either one of them than they are, because I literally raised them saying, your brother is the most important person in your life. Family is that important no matter what. And then my dad gets some credit because he, on a regular basis, showed me what not to do. Every single night when he came home and beat the living hell out of the whole family, and I had to get in between him and them, he showed me what you don't do. And so when you put those three things together, man, that is where I learned it all. And I'm actually really refreshed to hear that you guys had a little bit of the same boat, learning from, Hollywood. By the same token, we all learned from Hollywood writers, unfortunately. So there's really no question in my mind why the playbook is as strong as it is, because that's all we had to learn from was the playbook they all made up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're gonna get in the family this month. I just hope that you still like me after we get done, because I got some things to talk about regarding family. So hopefully we're on the same page. We're still buddies going forward. All right. Anybody else want to jump in before we close out? Who taught you how to be a man? Anybody else want to go ahead and hit the trifecta or the quadrifecta on the sitcoms? Come on, Brent.
I'll go. So I've got to credit my dad. My dad taught me how to love people.
Fair.
My dad was not what you would call a super manly man. Like, my dad can't fix cars. He can't build things. He is not the person you want to help you with any project like that. Like that was not his thing. You want to fell trees or climb mountains or fix your old truck, do not call him. That was not. But he taught me how to love family, and he taught me to prioritize family above everything. We were literally taught God, family, country. That was the order in my house. My siblings and I are like mafioso. It's my sister could call, I'd be on a plane tonight with no questions asked and do whatever needed to be done. And we're both, I'm the baby at 46. So I jump on a plane right now and never even question it. I just like, do I need one shovel or two, So, and that's the way we were raised, was God, family, country. I mean, that is the core foundation of my life's beliefs. But my dad taught me to love and to be compassionate with people and to value people. But honestly, everything else I learned about, like, being manly, I watched Clint Eastwood and John Wayne, Lee Marvin, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. My dad and I loved watching like the Rambo movies and Rocky and the Arnold Schwarzenegger films and the old Lee Marvin and John Wayne films, and we'd watch all that stuff together. So it was it was not a surprise that all of my siblings, we all went to the military, and like this is what we grew up on. It was very clear: God, family, country, and we all learned that manly kind of thing from the 70s and 80s action stars. So
yeah,
come on,
it wasn't the sitcom dads. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando killing half the world to go get his daughter after they grabbed her. That's
3 out of 5 ain't bad. I take it. GL, you could be we're already the majority, so it doesn't matter now at this point. But how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. There was a lot of people in the media who I've modeled after. I'm giving actual people in my life credit. My 2 grandfathers and my dad taught me a lot of things. But if I'm being honest, adversity, man. Adversity taught me how to be a man. Adversity taught me how to step up. Adversity taught me how to rise to the occasion, because I mean, other than that, it was all just book teaching, really. I could watch my dad, he could tell me things, but until I've experienced and walked through those things, I was never destined to be that, so I would have to say adversity gets the large part of the credit for me. And if I'm being even more honest, I'm still learning. I am a work in progress. I would not call myself a man's man until I'm done, and I'm not done yet.
Oh, for our audio listeners only, guys, when I said manly stuff, there was air quotes. So just to be clear, just our audio only listeners.
You guys missed out on that part. It was really, really important, and you missed it.
Yeah, it was.
Really sorry about that. But guys, this is one of those. I kind of feel like this will come in for months and months now. We did some heavy hitting topics since we started doing this show, but there's something about this that has some chutzpah to it. It's a mustard in this one. So we're gonna hang out here. I'm not sure it's gonna be all month, but we're gonna hang out here every week until we wring that bad boy dry. Because there's a lot to talk about here, and there's a lot of stuff on the friendship gap, the family dynamic, how we place it. Does it become an idol? We're gonna get into all of that stuff this month. So we'll see how long it takes us, man. We're gonna have fun with it, man, and bring our panel back again, man. But thank you guys for watching and listening. If you haven't watched us at all, this is your very first time. Upper right-hand corner of your screen is a QR code that will allow you to catch all of our shows that we've had and connect to our YouTube channel where you can see all of our content from our brand. And of course, if you're listening only and you're not watching, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora has this show on it. So we'd be glad to hear from you guys. Leave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you think about the show. You see these faces right here, all these guys with your names on here, look them up. They got fantastic men's content on their pages. We're going to do a lot more collaboration in days, weeks, and months to come. So thanks again for watching and listening. This is the Men's Roundtable Series podcast, and you just got taught about what men are really all about. So thank you again. Join us again next Thursday, 7 p.m. EST.